approaching the final POE of enterprise development. So I'll just start with this. Said we should strip the business logic and database access out of the MVC controllers, and we must create a new project in our solution, which is our ASP.NET Core Web API. And the API should be the system talking to the database, which is important. And the API must expose endpoints for contracts with filtering. Right, so when you get all the contracts, you create new contracts, patch, right, the contracts or any other that you might need, and then you also have what your Swagger Open API as well. So we must enable Swagger so the API is self-documenting and testable, and you must use the code within. Right, so let me just show you that. Close this as well. Yeah. So as you can see here, we have 3 projects. Then we have our new web API application, right? And then we have the controllers over here, right? And then we have our application DB context, since this should be the only application talking to the database. And then we have our models over here as well, right? And then we also have to update our app.json so we can include our connection string. Yeah. And then this is our program file, right? So as you can see, it uses JWT, right? And it also has Swagger, JWT in Swagger. So that means Swagger is enabled, as well as we have our JWT authentication over here. And this is our database, right? Yeah, so that's the chunks of it. So now if I were to run this, let me just run it, so we can see our endpoint in Swagger. So I'll just close this. Now come here. So we need to see our endpoint in Swagger basically, so that it will be proof that the database is talking to what, to the web API instead of what the MVC. So I'll just say control out of output. Hopefully this will show me. Oh goodness. Okay, so as you can see, the application is still working. So there's no changes made here. So I won't show this since I've already shown you how the application works. So let me just show you the Swagger instead. Do you have the link here? Let's check. Yeah. So let me just copy this. Place it over here. Put this back. Yeah. So as you can see over here, right, we have our get and post what for our clients, and we have contracts, right, as per the ID as well. So everything here, it's working perfectly, right? So these are our schemas. So everything will be shown here once you include what your data into the backend, right? So I'll just close this. Okay. Let's do this. And say what? I think I've already shown you this, that you should no longer connect to the database. I think I've already shown you this. And instead of MVC controllers, instead the MVC controllers must use HTTP to call the new data. So let me just show you that as well. So I'll just close this as well. Now stretch this. Then I'll show you the MVC controllers. So let's take contract for instance. See, it is our API service. So if you open our services, so you can see that it's using what your HTTP client, right? So I'll come over here and show you now. So you can see here when we create our contract or whenever, using our API service, which is in turn calling what our HTTP client as per the assignment asks, right? Then I've already shown you that you must use some authentication. I've already shown you that we are using JWT authentication. So let me just close this. My web API program. So you can see here we're using our JWT authentication. Right. Just close this as well. So it must include some integration tests, right? Task write code that calls you're running and assess the response. So if I open this integration tests, so you can see here, right? This is what we created. Basically, we're using our web application factory. And for what our task 2, we were using what our XUnit. So in this case, we are using our web application factory, and then this will give us our code. So if it's 202, it means it's okay. If it's not 202, it will give us probably 404. So the last time I ran it gave us 404. So I just did this. It should show 404, right? Test Explorer. You see, yeah, it will show it's red, but it's working perfectly. So this is our 404 error. You see, this is our 404 error because of the endpoints. Right? And then we have our containers. So we must create a Docker compose YAML that spins up the ecosystem, right? So if I come here, this is my Docker file that's being requested of me. So we have our services, right? DB, that's our database, right? Then we have our web API, so you can see the database. Then we have our image, right? Then we have our web API, right? And this is our container name, right? And then we have our web. Then this is our container name. So if I open this, then it will show you everything here. So I created this. So this is our container name. This is our container name. And this is our container name. And as you can see here, they are all running, which means everything is connected, right? And then we have 7 images for all as well. Okay. So we created a container for our SQL server. We created for our web API, and then we created for our front end. So this is what web API. This is our front end. This is our database. Then I have can see this is my GitHub solution. This is my Docker Compose file. So if I open my MVC, this is my Docker file. Just close this, and this should have a Docker file as well, since it's my web API. Yeah, so that's the chunks of it. So I should also include a screenshot of this. Okay. Yeah, so that's the chunks of it. Yeah, thank you.